And welcome to the top Hearthstone cards of the week, where we look at the fan-made cards from the r/customhearthstone subreddit. I am your host, Sheldon Dinkelberg, and first up we have Mechanize, the 1-mana warrior spell that reads, the next spell you cast costs armor instead of mana. This card is very similar to Bloodbloom for Warlock, which costs health instead of armor. In Warlock, the card has been used in control decks, maybe some people ran it in their Reno lock when it was a thing, but in almost all circumstances it was used for the expensive board clears like Twisting Nether and Doom. Warrior doesn't have those expensive spells. The most expensive spell is like 5 mana with Brawl or Sudden Genesis, so in terms of value, you're saving 4 mana, which does seem like a lot, but you're also taking up a card slot to do so. Adding a low value card like this is kind of counterproductive in any control deck, so I don't think this card would work in that same control route, which kind of leads me back to Sudden Genesis. I tried to get Sudden Genesis to work when Ngora released, and it was not happening. The biggest drawback of the card is that the high cost doesn't really allow you to play more minions on the same turn, and in the end it's not really worth any of the value. Now add this card and the new Frozen Throne Whirlwind cards, and you can actually get some competitive combos with Sudden Genesis. But more importantly, I think in future expansions, Blizzard should print more expensive cards for Warrior with wacky effects like Sudden Genesis. And I think a card like this could make some of these combos possible, where they decrease the cost of expensive spells, but the drawback or sort of requirement is you have to put this low value card in your deck, and you need to somehow gain enough armor to pay for the spells. I would love to see some more creative and expensive spells in Warriors, and I think this card could make them playable, at least for combos anyways. Next up we have Mysterious Egg, 1 mana 0/2 for Hunter with the Death Rattle. Summon a 1/1 copy of a random beast in your deck. Now I put this card in mainly as a protest, a plea to Blizzard to please add more eggs to Hearthstone. You've got your crabs, which I feel is a cheap way to deal with bouncing issues. You've got your ragers, which we'll get to later. But of all of the half-assed minion tribes, eggs. Eggs are what it's all about. I was playing a destructive warlock earlier this week where you destroy your own minions, and all I had to work with were fireflies and devilsaur eggs. Don't even get me started on runic eggs, that trash ass piece of... The important thing is, eggs have come and gone, but we always needed more. Let us all pray for an egg expansion, and as Drake put it in Amen by Meek Mill featuring Drake, I'm the type to say a prayer, then go get what I prayed for. So let's go get those eggs. Not that last part Drake didn't say about the eggs, but enough propaganda. The nitty gritty of this card, it works well for N'Zoth Hunter, a deck that I really want to work before N'Zoth rotates out. If you think about it, the majority of your minions have Death Rattle, so this summons a 1/1 with Death Rattle most of the time. So that means you have the original 0/2 egg, and then a 1/1, and then possibly a plethora of valuable items. In N'Zoth Hunter, this card would really stick on the board because of this, and I think it would thrive by either being killed or just thwarting off your opponent's board clears. The drawback is the chance of getting this card in your N'Zoth Battlecry, but it's pretty unlikely if it's late in the game and 15 or so minions with Death Rattle have died, unless of course you get Eggception. Actually, you can't get an egg from an egg because it's not a beast. But maybe. No, but it's a great card, fairly priced. My one concern is that eggs don't really mesh with Hunter as well as they do with Warlock and Silence Priest. Hunter doesn't have the destructive class cards or the taunt giving tech already in Silence Priest to incorporate eggs. I mean, I guess Misdirection synergizes and there's Toxic Arrow, but I think for the most part, popping the egg and getting the Death Rattle effect will rely on buffs or your opponent's board clears. And I think because beast buffing is somewhat of a reliable thing in Hunter, you should just make the egg a beast. Yes, someone will make a Hunter deck with only 2 eggs and no other beasts, giving them infinite 1/1 egg value until they draw their second egg, but that deck will suck. I would love to see this card and more eggs in Hearthstone. Next up we have Ultimate Rage Festation, 10 mana neutral spell under the humorous tag that reads, destroy all non-5/1 minions, summon all ragers, replace your hero power with build a rager. While I suppose there's a political theme to this episode because I again want to use this card as a statement. For too long, we have been divided. Jade this, pirate that. But what if raiders could bring us together? In this sovereign union, we call Standard Hearthstone. I'm talking about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's right, a famous Jake exclusive Game of the Year Gold Edition card. 10 mana neutral spell that reads, summon all ragers that have died this game. Discover an aura for each and combine them to form Megazorb. Okay, so I'll settle down now. Auras are the ongoing effects on the board. So, for example, Flame Tongue Totem, Radiant Elemental Nostormu, all these effects are the auras. I may have stolen this aura idea from the user submission this week, but anyways. This card is a late game spell where you will want to fill your deck with ragers, which is easy easy enough, of course. And by combining the Ragers, you will actually get the perfectly balanced stats. Plus, the unique aura abilities help to all combine this into an awesome, giant, massive robot, Megazorp. I guess it's kind of like a combination of Anything Can Happen and Galvadon. Two beautiful memes in their own right. And I think discovering auras is cooler than evolving, because there are more options and the effect can impact the game a little bit more long term. If you play 6 Magma Ragers, you could have a 10 mana 2014 minion that has +2 attack on your opponent's turn, reduces the cost of weapons by 2, disables hero powers, gives your other Murlocs +1, and all targets are now chosen randomly. Now this card could be a bit overpowered, but I guess you have to remember you're running like 4 to 6 Ragers in your deck in order to get a minion worth the 10 mana in the first place. And the final Megazorp is only 1 Rager, so it's not like you're going to be able to play one of these and then play another one and get a lot of value. Also, the aura thing might be a little confusing to new players, and some might say, what's the point of summoning them only to combine them immediately? Well, have you seen the Megazord transformation? Anyways, yes, more Ragers please. And last on our list we have President Noggenfogger, 8 mana 3/7 neutral legendary with the battle cry, if your deck has no duplicates, summon Jade Golems equal to this minion's attack. Now I could see why this would probably be one of the more controversial cards, but I think this is quite cheekily crafted. I guess let's deal with the behemoth in the room, Jade Druid. So the first requirement in adding this to your Jade Druid is you'd have to make a Jade deck with no duplicates for the effect to work. Now you could sneak in a couple of Jade duplicates just to get the value, and you can also wait to shuffle your idols after this card is played. But even with a couple of Jade duplicates, I think it's the rest of the deck that's severely lacking. Because while I do think that Drew does have a lot of strong cards, they also only have a few options for good card draw and even less board clears / controlling cards. Jade Druid wouldn't run this card, it's just not worth it. Now in a Raza Death Knight Priest, where it already fits in because there are no duplicates already in that deck, it's an 8 mana 3/7 that summons a 1/1, 2/2, and 3/3. It's not bad, but it's probably not worth putting in the deck. So from what I can think of, I don't think this card really makes any of the powerful decks better. I never thought I would say this, but I think this Jade card is alright. It could work in some Jade decks, but increasing your Jades in 1 turn by 3 is pretty crazy. I'm also thinking in a buffing deck, just buffing this card for 3 and filling your board with a 3/7 and then minions that go all the way up to a 6/6, it could be worth the tempo, even if you're only running one ofs. I just don't know if a buffing deck could afford to run no duplicates. If Blizzard was ever to release another Jade card, which I don't think they will, I think this could be a winner. It's sort of the way I wish Jade was. Instead of just stuffing your deck with anything that says Jade, you have some restrictions that come with any good Reno or Raza deck. But in the end, I don't think this card would be worth it for a lot of Jade decks. And now it's time for the user submission. This week, Taryn Allen submitted Auramancer, 4 mana neutral 1/2 that reads, the effect of your other minions' auras are doubled. So I apologize for spoiling the whole aura thing with my Rager card, but this card brought me to attention the diction for this type of effect. It reminds me a lot of Drakari Enchanter, which doubles the end of turn effects. I think Drakari is initially easier to understand because the aura cards don't have that text that unifies the card like at the end of your turn does. But I think the Auramancer's effect is actually more powerful. I mean, if you think about it, giving adjacent minions 4 attack, spells costing 2 less. Would Nozdormu only give you 7.5 seconds to take a turn? Would having 2 Auramancers double the doubled effect of auras twice? Would that be 8 times the aura? The creator said this interaction wouldn't happen between the two, but it's nice to dream. I think this card could definitely mess up Hearthstone, and I say this as a compliment. But while I don't think this is necessarily a good card for standard, and I don't say this as a cop-out, but I think this would be an amazing tavern brawl. It would be cool just to see how the gameplay would change with this effect always present in the game. Thank you again for the submission, Taryn Allen, and thank you for watching the top Hearthstone cards of the week. If you would like to submit your cards, you can tweet or email me, info is in the description. Next week I'll be sharing some of my favorite standard combos / OTKs using some of the Frozen Throne cards, so if you have any suggestions, let me know down below. It's been my pleasure as always, thank you for watching, and until next time, ta-ta. That was a weak ta-ta. And until next time, ta-ta. And until next time, ta-ta. That was like a little monotone. Thank you for watching, and until next time, ta-ta. No, I can't do it anymore. I can only ta-ta once, and then I'm out. I'm out.